Hello and welcome to those of you joining from our partner schools in the Portland metro area and from schools across the state of Oregon. Thank you for joining us for a presentation on what makes a great informational interview. Here's a quick overview of what we're going to be covering today. We'll talk about how to identify your needs. Informational interviews can be awkward, even for seasoned professionals, so we'll discuss how you can embrace the awkwardness. We'll cover how you can prepare for your interview. I'll talk about best practices for honoring your interviewer. And finally, we'll discuss what comes after the interview. I'm excited to be here today with all of you. My name is Anna Yates, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Director of Talent Culture at Z-Beta, a physical security design and consulting firm, and I've been working in HR, talent, and culture for over 20 years and have experience in the professional services, construction, and creative sectors. I've been involved with Portland Workforce Alliance since 2014 and currently serve on the executive committee and co-chair the development committee. On a personal note, I have a 15-year-old son who is currently a sophomore, so the work that PWA does is very relevant to the conversations we have in my household and what we're going to be talking about today, informational interviews. My LinkedIn contact information is provided, and I welcome you to reach out and connect with me. So let's start. What's an informational interview? So, informational interview is an informal conversation you can have with someone working in an area of interest to you. It's an effective research tool when paired with your own research. And most importantly, it is not a formal job interview. So there should be no expectation that it will lead to a job offer. So why would you want to leverage one? First, it's an opportunity to get relevant information about the realities of working within a particular field, industry, or position. You can find out about career paths you didn't even know existed, get tips and insider knowledge about how to prepare for and land a role in that position, learn what it's like to work at a specific company. It gives you the opportunity to network and perhaps even find a mentor. To begin with, you need to identify your need. Start by researching a career field to gain insight. Start broad and then dive deep. You can start with a practice area such as software engineering or apparel design. You can also start with a company or industry and then research jobs from there. Next, you're going to want to identify potential contacts to interview. Start with people you already know. Even if they aren't in fields of interest to you, they can lead you to people who are. Ask friends, family, teachers, counselors for referrals. This connection is often much more approachable and is common practice. LinkedIn is also a great tool to help you identify people with the types of career paths you are interested in. From the company page, you can navigate to people and then search by title, keyword, or school. You can also see what region employees live in. Review their full profile before you reach out. And remember, don't limit yourself geographically. With technology, you can have a conversation with anyone in the country. Let's talk about being courageous and embracing the awkward. You may feel awkward reaching out to people you don't know. However, most people actually enjoy taking a bit of time out of their day to reflect on their professional life and give advice to someone interested in their field. When reaching out to someone you don't know, aka a cold call, contact the person by email or through LinkedIn. Share how you got their name and any shared connections. For example, if you got their name from a family member or a friend. Emphasize that you're seeking an informational interview and why. And remember, not everyone will respond to your initial outreach. So consider whether it's appropriate to follow up or if there is someone who can help you make an introduction. Next, you'll want to determine the right venue and timing. Consider whether this should be an in-person meeting, a Zoom call, or a phone interview. With COVID, many folks are working from home or limiting face-to-face interactions, so it's important to offer to meet in a way that works best for the individual and their schedule. More importantly, remember, time is money. So take a note from them, request 25 to 45 minutes, but also respect how much time they have available to give. Prepare, prepare, prepare. So let's talk about preparing for the meeting. As you prepare for your informational interview, consider what knowledge will help you have the richest conversation. So do your research. Review their career history and their current employer. Research the industry, peer companies, current news. You can use company websites, LinkedIn, and press releases. Prepare your question set. It's really important to have open-ended questions. Yes and no questions will not provide you the depth of information you're looking for. You can ask them about their own career path. It's important to get an honest perspective, so ask them to talk about not only the positive parts of their job, but also the challenges they face. Ask them if they have any tips or tricks that they found to be valuable in their own career journey. And in addition to doing your research and preparing your questions, I encourage you to develop a brief introduction of yourself. Give the individual a sense of who you are and what your career aspirations are. This will help foster a deeper connection with the individual. Let's talk about how you can honor your interviewer. During your preparation, you've researched a little bit about them and their company. But during the actual interview, you'll also want to honor them. And you can do this in a few ways. Stay on schedule and stay flexible. Time boxing should be in their court. Respect their time and recognize that they may not be able to continue the conversation beyond the allotted time. Who should own the conversation? You should be prepared to direct the interview, but also let the conversation flow naturally and encourage the interviewee to do most of the talking. When it comes to etiquette, you can ask ahead of time about dress code and appropriate mannerisms. You can also use context, taking cues from the interviewee. And then remember to manage your own expectations. It's ideal to bring a resume with you and be prepared to discuss it, but you shouldn't necessarily expect this. Gauge how the conversation is going. Ask if appropriate. This is also a great opportunity to schedule a follow-up conversation if they're open to it. Findings and follow-up. So it's really important during the conversation that you're taking notes. It will help you remember what was discussed and show the interviewer that you're engaged. After the conversation, take some time to write down what you learned, what more you'd like to know, and next steps you plan to take. Remember to take advice, but with a grain of salt. This is just one person's experience in their field and role. This may create an opportunity for you to have additional informational interviews. If you have specific information you still want, consider asking your interviewer for additional contacts to reach out to. Align on next steps. Discuss whether or not they'll review your resume for you. Ask them for advice for further conversations. Again, who would they recommend that you talk with next? And consider, is this person a possible mentor, or could they recommend you to someone else? You can ask about internships and other opportunities. Not every informational interview is going to be a perfect match, and that's okay. Determine if the individual is someone that you want to maintain and build a relationship with. Staying in touch. Learn the other party's preferred communication methods. They may like email, text, or call, or may prefer to connect in person or over a video call. Remember that they also may have a busy schedule. It's important to follow up promptly. Send a thank you note within 1 to 2 days to express your appreciation for the time and information given. This note also ensures that the other party remembers the interaction and your personal or professional goals. In some cases, it may be appropriate to connect on social media, but also remember you can be comfortable separating your social medias and understand that others may do the same. It's often great to connect on LinkedIn, and if appropriate, you can follow on Twitter. Have clear, respectful requests. Know what you are asking for in a follow-up. I get a lot of requests from candidates to review their resume and let me know if they have any positions that would be appropriate for them. This isn't a great idea because you're asking the other person, who may be very happy, to do the work for you. A better idea is to ask about a specific opportunity or request. I'm looking for some mentorship in human resources, or would you be willing to talk to me for 15 minutes about the internship on your team? Remember that they may say no, and that's okay. You can try again later or ask if they have any other connections that can help you. I hope that the ideas we've shared with you today were helpful. We've included a few resources you may want to check out. Thank you for your time today. I hope you found this presentation to be a valuable use of time. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, I encourage you to reach out and connect with me via LinkedIn, and I hope you enjoy the expo.